Hello everyone, it's Rick Carson, and for today's Throwback Thursday, I want to tell you about one of my favorite recording studio stories, which is the legend of 30th Street Studio, The Church, which was a Columbia studio in New York City. Originally built in 1875 as a Presbyterian church, it was converted into a studio around 1948, and it ran until 1981. Supposedly, they stopped construction right in the middle of the build because the studio sounded so good. Renovations were very rare, and they were very controversial to the point that they actually had two control rooms at one point, one for the original engineers who wanted to record in mono and one for the new engineers who wanted to go to the newfangled stereo. Many people recorded there, including Glenn Gould, Miles Davis, Paul McCartney, Chicago, and tons of other people. This is the studio of legends. Supposedly, they liked to use Neumann mics because they thought the AKGs were too noisy. Supposedly, they had a room in the basement that was completely covered in pornography where the engineers would hang out. There's a studio called Studio D, which not a single photo exists of to this day. Because of the time period, the church featured mostly completely custom tube equipment, including the consoles. So when you'd come in during the summertime, you'd find a control room full of engineers pretty much naked. One of my favorite stories is that supposedly the studio was shut down because of a noise complaint. Of course, there were economic woes during the time as well, but at the end of the day, when a new neighbor moved in and built a nice condo, it just wasn't worth the fight and they decided to let the studio go. I think it's tragic that we lost a piece of history to something like that. Let us know what other studios or records you'd like to learn about for Throwback Thursday, and we will look into it as much as we possibly can.